Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in the previous video, I shared with you how you should be preparing for the prelims in UPSC Civil Services examination. Some of you asked me about the book list and how to cover them. So this video would be dedicated to it. In the next videos, I'll be covering how to prepare for mains, optionals, ethics, essays, and also the interview round. So yeah, let's dive in. So we will start with the book list and in the later part of this video, I'll also tell you how to cover those books. I'm sitting with my notes here so that I don't miss any points. So yeah, let's start. In the beginning, we go with the subject that only has one book, that is polity. And the book is Lakshmikant. Every UPSC aspirant covers it. Some of the teachers tell that one should also cover the Constitution of India or one should cover the NCRT books for civics. I would not recommend it because Lakshmikant has it all. You just need to go through it. If you need more detail for some specific parts of it, you can Google it, or through test series also, you will gain much knowledge. PYQs, of course. That's all. So you don't need to go beyond Lakshmikant. Now coming to modern history, this is a big one. Here, because I was a completely new student in this field and I had no guidance, I started with Bipin Chandra, which I read somewhere on social media that it is a good book. The book is actually good, but it is in very novel form. So if you're good at notes making, go for it. And if you are a reader, you like reading novels, then yes, Lakshmikant is a good book for you. But I needed a book uh, that would give me notes already made. I didn't want to write so many dense sentences and then cram it again and again. So, yeah, I, like any other UPSC aspirant, I transitioned to reading Rajiv Ahir. As I told, the book has notes already made for you and it is in a very precise manner. So I think that would be all for modern history. I'll tell you, there are some notes indeed that need to be made for Rajiv Ahir as well, but it's not as much as in case of Bipin Chandra. So yeah, that would be for modern India. Uh, for ancient and medieval history, my only source was NCRTs. Now, if you see, I think in 2026, a lot of questions came from ancient history and medieval history. But still, the syllabus is so huge, and basically anything could come, anything under the sun could come. That is why I thought that it is never possible to cover it all. And therefore, just go for what is readily available, that is the NCRTs. Uh, Now, NCRTs we have for various classes. I'll start from the beginning. I read class sixth book, which talks about like subjects like Indus Valley civilization, right? You will have some parts of Mauryan period, some parts about Mahajanpads. These things are covered, and if I remember very correctly, it was about a student visits a site and then they ask some question and the teacher answers it. The book is very concise, very short, and the fonts are very big, so it should not take you more than like 3-4 days to complete it, to be honest. If you are giving every day 4 hours dedicatedly to the book, you can cover it in just 3-4 days, that's all. uh Same as with class 7th, by the way. I read those books completely, like 7th also, the font is very big, the book is very concise. And if you see this class 6 and 7 NCRT books, they have some maps. Those maps are very important. Like, they were actually very useful, not just in UPSC, but also I had given BPSC, and I also appeared in its mains where I drew those maps as it is, and it was very useful. So you can go for it. Coming to class 8 NCRT, most part covers, I think, modern Indian history only, which you will already cover in Rajiv Ahir, so you can skip it. There are some parts to it that has topics like the nomadic life of India or the Jajmani system. Those you can just open the content, you can skim through it and see whatever parts you don't find in Rajiv Ahir. You read that from class 8th NCRT. As for class ninth, you can completely skip it. It covers world history in details, which you would be required to study during the mains. But for prelims, you don't require it at all. So don't you waste your time after it. In mains, also, like I think one or two questions came in GS paper one. So you don't need to spend much time on it, specifically if you're targeting prelims at first or you are studying with that point of view. And obviously before mains you will get that much time that these small topics, fringe topics that are not that lengthy, you could cover it within few days, so that is not a big deal. uh, Class 10th also you can read Rise of Nationalism in India, The Age of Industrialization, but these are the few chapters. But basically the book is useful only for mains. Similarly, for class 11th, I never touched class 11th NCRTs because, again, it was very lengthy. I am not, I never developed a sitting habit, and I cannot read for longer hours. So I didn't study class 11th NCRT at all. Class 12th. Now, this is the most important NCRT for history. Even if you have not read anything from class 6th to 11th, you need to cover class 12th NCRT in a very good way. Okay, don't skip it. There are some chapters, if I remember, in class 12th NCRT history, which is about the Bhakti movement, the Vijayanagar Empire, how it was, there was a city which was named after the king's mother, Mamallapuram, I think. So those kind of facts, Tungabhadra, it is based on the basin of river Tungabhadra. Those things, I think UPSC even asked this in a prelims. I don't remember exactly the year. You can write it in the comments. So I think it was asked also in prelims. So those are very important chapters. So yeah, so here I'll also cover, along with this history, you also have to read class 11th and class 12th art and culture book. Now, I don't remember the names of the book that well. I think it was an introduction to the Indian art or something, and it has part 1 and part 2. Um, Not all the topics you have to read very, like, in a very great depth. I was taking interest in reading those subjects. I myself, I am very interested in art itself, art and music. So I read it out of interest. You have to read some of the chapters, like, you see, there are topics like the Pandava during the Pandyan dynasty. What were the architectures and art forms were there? Now, how the colors were used during the Neolithic period, right? Uh, and also, so how it got oxidized and the colors became permanent on those cave walls. These things you never know. UPSC can ask it, and some of you will think it is from science, but it won't be. It is a history question. This is very much available on in NCRTs. So you have to read those topics. One of the most important chapter in that art and culture book is about the temple architecture. It is very well covered. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to refer to any of the coaching booklets either. NCRTs are enough for it. So yeah, there are, I think, books and authors related to Shaivism, Vaishnavism, Vaishnavite culture, Shaivism, all those things also. So go through this. Whatever is fact dense and it is related to India, Indian art, Indian culture, whatever is fact dense, like it's a fact that this city was developed by this king in by and by this dynasty. These kind of facts, wherever you find, you should be highlighting it and you should be going through it again and again in your revisions, so that you just develop a memory around it. Okay, it will be useful for also building your mains answer later on. So keep in mind to read the books like that. Wherever it was a story, wherever they were saying, talking about their opinions, I'll just skim through it. I'll just, read it very fast and not highlight it. As soon as a fact comes, I'll highlight it and I'll go through it again and again. If you're someone who keeps noting down while reading, you can just jot them down. You can scribble these words so that you develop a memory for all those things. Now we come to economy. So I read the macroeconomic book. it is very important to read to develop your concepts around it. Although for economy, the main thing that you have to read is the Indian budget and the Indian economic survey. There are also videos by Mrunal sir uploaded on YouTube. You need to go through it because he has taught in a very conceptually good way that builds your foundation for economics. So yeah, you can go through it. In microeconomics, very small parts, like factors of production. What are the factors of production? What is the difference between gross and what is the difference between gross income and national income? So those things also you need to study. That's all. You don't need to go through the microeconomics book that much. I think if you if you want me to elaborate further on it, the exact chapters, please mention in the comment. I'll do it. But for now, I think after reading macroeconomics and after going through PYQs and Brunal sir books, you'll understand that in microeconomics, the definition parts are important, like what is national income, what is gross income, what are the factors of production, what is the theory of uh, the cost of diminishing returns, all those things. So you need to go through that. Yeah. Now, as for geography, now see, geography was my optional, so I won't be suggesting anything in that except for maps. I have, if it is not your optional, you can go through GC Leong and class 12th NCRT. That's all. But mostly in prelims, geography is they ask map based questions only in geography, so you don't need to read again and again and revise again and again all those books. 12th, it is important to build your concepts. There is also geography of India chapter which talks about the ports of India, the airways, the roadways, all those things. Now those are important. You just don't need to read it like a theory that you read for other topics. You need to pick an Indian map, you need to pick the world map, and you need to just visualize while reading geography. For example, I didn't read the rivers of India from the geography NCRT books. I looked into a video specifically how they draw the rivers, and I drew the rivers myself, practiced it again and again, and in that way developed my own mnemonics, and that way I remembered all the rivers and their tributaries. So you can do that. Now let's talk about environment. For environment, yes, I read Shankar IAS book. In that, I only read the parts that was very new to me. Much of that we read in our school days. But like in what form nitrogen is absorbed in the soil. Uh, so that what are the bacteria that functions there, also what is a food count pyramid, energy pyramid, those kinds of things, and also some of the bodies like what were the important COPs, what happened in the Kyoto Protocol. You don't need, so Shankar IAS is covers everything under the sun. Now it covers all the COPs. You don't need to read all the COPs. So I'll suggest that directly jumping into Shankar IAS, you start reading environment from Vision IAS current affairs. You cover it for 1 2 months. After that, you'll automatically develop a knack on what is important and what is not. You'll see that bodies like sites, bodies like traffic, bodies like World Wildlife Fund, all these come again and again. So if that is mentioned in Shankar IAS, go for it, read it. Which bodies established it? What was the conference in which it was established? You have to read those things. But like COP, every other COP, you don't need to read every other COP, right? You just need to read the important ones like the Earth Summit, the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, the most recent one, or the COP in which India announced Mission Life, Glasgow, I think. So you need to read those things which are important. The latest ones you read. That is important, of course, but not everything. Also, Kyoto Protocol, Kigali Agreement, what is CBD, what is Nagoya Protocol, all these things you need to cram. But I think more than Shankar IAS, what you should focus on in is Vision IAS, Current Affairs magazine, the environmental part. You'll be sorted. I later in my later parts of the preparation, I picked up Shankar IAS only to cover the few chapters that were in the beginning. As I said about the very basics that we used to read in school. What is phylum, what is class, what is order, all those things, because I had forgotten. So just to revise that, I used to pick Shankar IAS. Not so once you read once or twice, I think you don't need to read it again and again. Vision IAS, environment, current affairs, revise it again and again. Underline and revise. Um, so yes, this is all the book list I referred to. I didn't read anything else. After this, I just went for PYQs and explore. All the notes I made were from the PYQs only. The various options that you find in PYQs, I would make notes out of it. That's all, nothing else. Now, for some books, like in Lakshmikant, how to read it? See, directly if you start from chapter 1, it will seem to be very tough, and you'll easily get distracted because it is very information dense. So, you'll get tired or exhausted, and then you won't feel like reading it. So, what I did was there were two sections: constitutional bodies, non constitutional bodies. Every chapter is like one or two page. So, it gives you that, I don't know if it is dopamine boost or something. You feel good that yes, I completed one chapter. Yes, I completed. It is a one-page chapter. It is a half-page chapter. STSC Council, National Human Rights Commission, etc. But it gives you that kind of satisfaction. Also, you get used to the book, its formatting, everything. And once you have covered those two sections, you can go from chapter one and start reading. I made sure that every day I'll cover 5 to 6 chapters, and if it is a very big chapter like the Indian Parliament, I'll take 3 days completely to cover it, and in that way I covered it. Yeah, you can cover Lakshmikant. I think if you read it uh, dedicatedly, I think it will take you 1 month to cover it. First time, and from second time it gets reduced, because second time you only read the highlighted parts. Now here, it's not that I didn't make any notes in Lakshmikant. Uh, there are points which need to be arranged chronologically. There are points that need to be sorted so that you don't confuse between two organizations, two bodies, etc. For example, there were various committees that were set for the Panchayati Raj system in India. So, like Balwant Rai Mehta committee, it was the first committee. Ashok Mehta was the second. Now, Balwant Rai had suggested for 3 tier of panchayats. Ashok Mehta 2 tier. Similarly, there was Singhvi. So I arranged them chronologically first of all, and then I made a row in which they were mentioned, and in the column below that committee, I mentioned the main points like 3 tier commission. This suggested a judicial tribunal. Just this suggested a district level court, something like that. So in that way, I arranged it. In the Lakshmikant book only, there are white pages on the left side. I just made a very short note about it. Similarly, if you see, there are various constitutional organizations. Some have 4 members, some have 5 members, some have 6 members. In the nomination committee, some have uh, the Chief Justice of India. Some don't have it. Some have leader of opposition. Some are impeached by the president. Some are impeached by the parliament. So there are various facts which could be confusing. So you just have to put them in columns, all those organizations, and write, okay, this is their impeachment is done by this, their appointment is done by this, the nomination committee is this, the selection committee is this, voting happens in this way. They could be removed by the Supreme Court, they could be removed by the Parliament, all those things, you understand. Also, if they could be reappointed in any of the official positions, if they could not be reappointed, because these points are very confusing. So you need to write specifically, I think, for UPSC and state public service commissions, the members and the chairman, their appointment, it is a little confusing. So you need to, whatever floats your boat, you have to find it out. I generally made put them in cells, and I would arrange them in a way so that at once I can see that, okay, this person is impeached by this, okay, this person could be appointed in this body but cannot be appointed in that body, this person could not be appointed at all, I think, for CAG. This person, and these things you need to jot down. That's the only note you need to make for Lakshmikant. I think there were only 3 4 sections for which I made. For example, the Panchayati Raj Committee, I told you, the fifth and sixth schedule of India. Uh, there were various commissions like the Sarkaria Commission, Panchi Commission. I made it for those also. Very small, important points I noted down. Then all the cases that happened, when did Keshavanand Bharati happen? When did Mindrava Mills happen? All those things. And yeah, and the constitutional and non-constitutional bodies arranged them in order. That's all. You don't need to make any other notes from Lakshmikant, only these 3 to 4 sections. Similarly, for modern India, suppose you are reading about Brahmo Samaj. Now, what was Brahmo Samaj? What was Adi Brahmo Samaj? Who was the chairman of which body? How did they evolve over the years? The chronology of it. You have to keep scribbling it as part of short notes. Similarly, if you're reading the social reforms, what happened first? First, the sati was banned, or the female feticide was banned, or widow remarriage came. You have to write those things. And who was the person who played a major role in that, of course. Uh, Also, suppose you're reading about Raja Rama Mohan Roy. Now, he wrote many books. Which book he wrote the first, in which year, after that, which book, after that, which book, these things you have to. And see, if you can just read it and remember it by highlighting, that's good. But generally, these are so many informations that the brain needs sorting. So, all I'm telling you, your notes are not actually notes, but just a sorting method for so many information so that your brain could memorize, because you have to memorize. So yeah, that's pretty much all. For NCRTs and any other thing, you don't need to make any notes, even not for current affairs. You just need to highlight them and go through them again and again. And yeah, that's all for prelims. I don't think you need to do anything else. These books, PYQs, practice again and again, and that's all. You will be sorted with prelims. And I don't think with these many practice, uh, you could find it tough to crack that stage. In the next video, I'll be covering my main strategy, and after that, I'll be covering my optional strategy, which was geography. Till then, keep preparing. See you in the next video. Bye bye.